Okay, so I've seen very recently a lot of sentiments that this game is, oh, it's doomed. It's doomed. Like, I this game is a very, very healthy live service game from fucking 6 years ago.
Entering safe area.
It's fun. It's got a very active player base. So seeing like people shit on the game, it's kind of funny. Not gonna lie. Like they're still doing active global events, active updates. People saying this game is dead is, well, it's been
Predicted
going on
hostiles
for
detected.
years now. Like since 2018, which is kind of fucking wild. But it's gotten worse over the recent months because of the new season's 2.0 update. Kind of it wasn't good, basically. What they started out with was not good. Right, seasonal characters, not a good idea. But they listened to the community.
Immediate medical assistance needed.
I'm gonna get shit on here.
Hostile protection now removed.
Okay,
Agent
well,
deceased.
that was embarrassing. But people are saying, okay, this game's gonna die, this, that, and the other thing. Well, it's like, okay, yeah, maybe, but if you look at the first game has still, like, insane monthly player counts, daily player counts, me being one of them. This is my, honestly, favorite franchises of all time. I'm never not gonna play a Division game. Like, even the mobile port, I'll probably play the shit out of. So, people saying, oh, it's over for the Division, and the only reason I'm streaming right now is because I watched a stupid fucking video on how the Division 1's forgotten and not cared about. And it's like, yeah, okay, but it's a live service game from 2015. They still do active global events, so clearly the developers care at least a little bit about the game. But it's like, yeah, no shit, it's gonna be somewhat forgotten about.
En route.
It's an old game that's not the newest in the franchise.
Agent killed.
Okay, cool. Apparently he climbed up. That's fine. It's the older of the two divisions. Obviously, they're not going to be like, okay, let's focus all of our efforts on the original. It's like, it's absolute doomers and gloomers that are just like, the franchise is over, the franchise is bad now. And it's really annoying, honestly, because there's a huge update coming, which I'm not a huge fan of. The specific update that they want to do, where it essentially takes global events
Hostile protection restored.
out of it and just goes with a standardized global event, which boosts the new gear set that they release. I'm not a huge fan of that because it creates a dangerous precedent where people are just chasing the meta of whatever gear set that comes out. As soon as that goes away, nobody cares about it. So every single meta chasing shit fest. But in the same vein, it kind of makes sense what they're doing. Even though I'm not a huge fan of it, it could be healthy for the game. What am I doing?
Agent out of action.
Honestly, what am I doing? My god.
Agent killed.
You got me. Come on. I don't know how if you go down. Whatever. So it's the way they're framing it, since they're not doing seasonal characters, the best chance they have to keep a good healthy balance is stay with traditional global events and don't go with the season-long events, right? Because if they go with the season-long ones, it's going to be a situation of an ever-changing meta every 4 months, depending on what gear set they release, right? Because if they release a new gear set and it gets boosted through the quote-unquote global event, or whatever the hell they call it, or seasonal event, is really what they would end up calling it, then it ends up being a situation where people will obviously shift to that build because you get boosts,
Hostile restored.
but not die during this.
Hostile protection restored.
So it creates a a discomforting meta chasing kind of only one build situation for 4 months and then it shifts. Whereas, okay, you look at this global event.
Detecting additional.
I don't
hostile
have a build for
contacts.
this one, so I can only get very few, challenge stars from it, unless I'm playing in a group. So it's, it's not as guaranteed the meta. Like, if you can toggle it like you can a global event, then it's not as big an issue. But if it's, say, okay, we released for just as an example, we released a rifle gear set. Okay, rifles now do explosive damage on top of it. This is really not going well. Hold on. Or rifles inflict a specific status effect, and we have a status effect gear set. Then people are going to be way too dependent on that gear set for whatever that seasonal event is. And then, okay, we move on to the next season, and it's a new seasonal event with a new gear set, which is the main focus. So it'll just end up being an ever-shifting meta of gear sets. So let's let's say you have a favorite build, well, maybe one season you'll actually get to use it out of the year, which is, there's typically about 3 seasons to a year, maybe 4, because it's 3 to 4 months per season. So it's like, okay, well, I only get to use my favorite build every once in a while, but other than that, I just have to run whatever the new gear set is, because that's what's getting boosted, and everything else is getting debuffed. Like in Hollywood, as you can see right here, my gun goes tanked, but explosive damage gets boosted. So it's like, okay, if I don't use something that actually deals explosive or status effects, it's kind of worthless. And that's the only reason I'm running the St. Elmo's over, say, the Chameleon. Because I like the Chameleon much more, in general, but it gets absolutely no benefit from the global event. Whereas, obviously, the St. Elmo's deals a status effect, so it gets some other stuff. So I feel like doing the seasonal events is just gonna be, it's gonna be an issue unless you toggle it.
Supply room access.
Unless you're able to toggle it, I should say. Because if you can't toggle it and it's just like Hollywood, you get a debuff to your regular weapon damage, but boost to explosive, status effect damage. Then what's the point at that point, you know? So, if I'm getting debuffed because I don't want to use the new gear set because I'm not, you know, comfortable with it, then why should I be punished, you know? Because a lot of this game's je ne sais quoi, so to say, is that you can play how you want to, right? You can build something for just about anything. If you want to play a cover-to-cover build, you can build that. If you want to play up in your face, just raw damage DPS build, you can do that. If you want to play sit back, throw some skills, and, you know, win fights with that, you can do that. If you want to play a tank build where you do no damage but literally cannot die, you can do that. That's the foundation on which this game stands. So why would we boost a specific build for an entire 3 to 4 month period where that's the optimal build? I don't see that working out. Whereas, okay, you look at like something like Golden Bullet. You can still use a skill build, you can still use a tank build, and you can use a DPS build. It'll be a little bit better, but every other build benefits from it, right? Hollywood, it's like, okay, typical DPS builds use the St. Elmo's, right? Just because it is extremely broken. So dealing that shock damage causes explosions, right? So it works with DPS, it works with skill builds because you have the mortar turret, which is really the optimal thing to be using during Hollywood. Let's be honest here. And then it also works with tank builds because, okay, you throw grenades. Now let's say you use, you do a pretty standard bulwark build, and instead of using like Sawyer's knee pads, you use something like the collector. Then you can just be hucking grenades pretty much full time behind a shield. So then you get the explosive benefits. You know? It's there's a lot of builds in this game that I feel like would be overshadowed by the boosts that would make the game slightly more unfun. I don't know if I'm wrong here, but I feel like there's definitely a situation where that is how it ends up. That's how we end up playing. Just moving to whatever the new gear sets are and just playing based off that. And I don't see that as being very fun, quite honestly. Because forcing a build on people is not what this game is about. This game is about picking whatever build works best for you. But if there's any sort of a debuff, like there is in Hollywood, to say like gun damage or anything else, it quickly becomes a situation where it is literally not optimal to run your personal favorite build. Kind of like here in Hollywood, how I use this specific build, which this one's kind of a new one, but it's my favorite. But every once in a while, obviously, I get the shock ammo, which deals explosive damage as well. So it makes it work with Hollywood, at least somewhat, you know. So I fear that we'll lose the ability to make builds that are non-optimal but still have fun with. I don't know. Because if I want to, I can just go over here. I can go over to the global event, and I can click X, and it'll deactivate it. So as long as that's an option, that's okay. But I feel like with season-long events,
Friendly combatants nearby.
there is a possibility where, say, the season pass ends up being dependent upon you actually having that event active, which I find a little scary. I find that to be a very slippery slope. Excuse me. So, I don't know. Again, it depends on what you like to do in this game. It depends on how they integrate it, and, how fun it is at the end of the day. As long as they release a fun gear set, that's all I care about. Because it took them, I don't know how long. It took them forever to release rifle gear sets. So I could use the Diamondback, for example, and have fun with it. Like, it's absurd, some of these gear, like, they just have no way to optimize a lot of different weapons. Which, don't get me wrong, if I spec for crit chance, I could use just about any other rifle in the game, but I like the
combatants
Diamondback.
detected.
making exotics optimal, no matter what, is always going to be your best option. Because that gives people a reason to farm and stay playing your game. So, I mean, those are just kind of the thoughts I have. So, yeah.